Hey guys, I'm Nidoking with more Space Quest 6. Last time we finally beat Jerkwad in Stooge Fighter 3, and got kidnapped and taken up to this hotel room, where we've managed to knock out one of our captors with some well-placed static electricity. And we found an article on his computer that pointed us to the fact that there's an article in the game box that would tell us how to make a homing beacon out of our data quarter. For anyone who didn't watch the bonus video, here's a quick recap. So what we have to do is put all these components back into the data quarter in such a way that we construct a homing beacon. And how hard can that be? So the Spentium chip goes here, and the leg bone is connected to a year's supply of scuba lessons. No, that's not right. I am a data quarter repairman. I put chips into plates, and plates into sensor arrays. And those switches really irk me. And there we go. Now let us never speak of this again.
There seems to be something stopping the data quarter from transmitting.
Now, before we get out of this room, people wanted me to look at the rat next to the computer. So, here we go.
Way too disgusting.
I'm not touching that, and you can't make me. I'm not going to put my lips on that.
So, there you have it. Alright, we've got the key card, let's get out of the room.
Well, the worm is out of the hole. So, you have to ask yourself, do I feel lucky? Well, do I, punk?
Well, as a matter of fact, I think I do.
That wouldn't prove fulfilling.
Bah.
It's the one called Nigel, the larger of the two mass-laden brothers.
Go away.
Well, let's just take a look around and see what we've got to work with. Or we can ignore him and just walk out onto the balcony. I guess that force field is blocking the way, isn't it? Okay, so what else is there in the room?
A massive subspace neurotransmitter fills the desk. Amplified by brainwave patterns, neurotransmissions are not affected by local damping fields. But you already knew that, right?
Well, maybe we can get a message out that way.
Unfortunately, your brainwave patterns are far too puny to benefit from even this unit's powerful positronic amplifiers.
Oh well, let's keep looking around.
Another one of those formerly trendy bolt discharge lamps sits on the console top. Wow, that's a signed poster of the lead singer for that country western band, Hall and Az. It's just another picture of a heavenly body. This controller controls the controls on the subspace neurotransmitter.
Jeez, is this guy a control freak or what?
Oh, we've got to mess with that one.
There is nothing wrong with a subspace neurotransmitter controller. Do not attempt to adjust the controller. We are controlling transmission. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can change your mind to a soft blur or sharpen it to crystal clarity. You've never been a big CW fan. In fact, it is your belief that country and western music was outlawed hundreds of years ago in an attempt to reduce alcoholism.
We can only hope. Now, the thing that we need in order to get us out of this room is pretty cleverly hidden in this box.
A box of MODIs, behavioral modification Eurocircuit chips, lies under the desk.
So let's go ahead and snag one of those.
You poke and prod amongst the MODIs until you find a MODI labeled churlish. Being intrigued by the word, you glom it. Incidentally, you might want to look up the word churlish before you do anything stupid.
Now, when I played this as a kid, I knew exactly what churlish meant. And this is it.
Wow, he really creased your can. Pretty impressive. Maybe not from your point of view, of course.
So what I didn't know was the meaning of burlesque, so I figured I'd try that one.
That's an interesting idea. Not a good one, but interesting nonetheless.
Incredibly interesting, which is why I really want to see it. So you may notice the label is peeling off the churlish Mahdi there.
The corner of the label in this Mahdi seems to be loose.
And now we can just paste it over the burlesque one. There we go. Now this is a Mahdi I'd like to see him wear.
Pretty cool looking, huh? Thinking it was the churlish Mahdi, he pops it in place.
I apologize for none of that. Now, he's discarded his clothing.
Don't pick at it, you'll only make it worse.
But all we need is his belt. Because it's got a couple of useful things attached to it.
It's Nigel's belt, complete with a damping field actuator and a nifty personal grooming assistant.
And we don't even need to keep the belt.
Yuck! It's the hair you pulled from Nigel's personal grooming assistant.
Complete with a personal grooming assistant still attached.
It's the damping field actuator.
That's more useful. And now we can step outside. So I can call for a rescue at this point, but I need to take one last look at the city before I do.
The cityscape stretches like an immense pestilent rash across the puckered, festering face of Polysorbate 60.
Ah, pretty.
Let's never speak of it again.
Hey! Here's your fish!
Stellar, you picked up my homing signal. I can't believe I actually made it work. Now no one can say I spent a little bit too much free time in the bathroom with Popular Tektronix.
Popular Tektronix, who are you trying to kid? I know what you were reading in there.
What was that voice, Roger? I thought I heard something.
Pay no attention, Stellar. It was probably just a mechanical flatulence from the ship.
Anyway, we received a transmission from a nearby StarCon communications monitoring platform. They told us of some unusual signal originating from the area of Polysorbate 60. We dialed it in, scanned the coordinates, and found you.
So what are you doing in this sector, Stellar? I thought you were stationed on the SCS Heinz 57.
I am. I had some leave accumulated and decided to take it. This is kind of embarrassing for me. I actually came to see you. I've been thinking about you a lot lately, and I was curious about what you'd been up to, so I decided to visit. And when I arrived here, I found you had just left for shore leave on Polysorbate. I decided to follow you down and try and catch up with you. When I got to that dump of an inn and found you'd been kidnapped by those thugs, I searched around, but could find no trace of where they'd taken you. That certainly is a strange place. I decided to beam back up to the deep ship and try to locate you through your transport communicator signal. When I'd returned, I found you'd left it up here on the ship. I didn't know what to do then until that call came through from the StarCon installation. You're a lucky man, Wilco.
Yeah. I guess I am. If you hadn't gotten there when you did, I'd probably be a victim of some serious cement poisoning after those geeks chucked me off that balcony.
Terrace.
What?
Well, actually, it was a terrace.
Whatever. Thanks, Stellar. I sure owe you a big one.
I'd sure like to collect that sometime. But let's talk about you and me. Perhaps I could take you to dinner sometime soon.
I'd like that, Stellar. I'd like that a lot. The thing is that I kind of have a relationship with another, and I wouldn't feel very comfortable about that. I mean, it wouldn't be fair to her. You understand? Not to mention the fact I'd be wearing my sphincter for a necklace if Beatrice ever found out. I hope you do understand, Stellar. I like you. I think I even more than like you. I don't know where I got this inordinate sense of loyalty toward Beatrice.
I believe the word that explains that is fear.
Pound sand, pal. Please know that were the situation any different, I'd be making that date with you right now.
Oh, I see. Friends, co-workers, buddies. That's all this is gonna be. I guess I knew it somewhere inside. I just didn't want to believe it. I guess I admire your trueness of heart, however misplaced. But I feel much more inclined to damn you for it. I know that's selfish, but it's how I feel. I must admit it shows something more about you, more depth of character than I gave you credit for, Wilco. Well, I'm patient if you ever have a change of heart. Well, Roger, we should see what we can find out about those subhuman walking dumpsters that had such a keen interest in you. I don't suppose you heard their names.
No, but I did get this neat personal grooming assistant. It needs a little cleaning, but...
That's great, Roger. Don't clean it, though. Take it to the sick bay. There's a DNA analyzer there. We can scan the contents and perhaps use the results to get some names and information about these guys.
Good thinking, Stellar. I probably would have thought of it, eventually.
Yeah, I'm sure you would have, Roger. Look, I've got to go to sick bay and get some treatment for my back after that not-so-graceful rescue.
Oh, yeah, that. Sorry. Well, I'll see you there.
Commander, I am receiving a message from StarCon.
Computer, on screen.
Hello, Commander Kilbasa. I have a new directive for Deep Ship 86. This is actually a special request from me, Commander. As you may know, I served with Admiral Bluntfang during the Fallopian Campaign. Admiral Bluntfang's widow is involved in building an off-world retirement community. They are almost finished, but have requested assistance from Deep Ship 86. Commander, please extend her every courtesy. You know, if things go well, this would not look too bad in your personnel file. I will let Sharpay, the Admiral's widow, explain further.
Hello, Commander Kilbasa. As Admiral Toolman mentioned, we have almost completed our project here, but could use StarCon assistance. To be honest, Commander, I pulled a few strings, but this is an important mission, I assure you. Since you are scheduled to be present for the dedication of the Golden Light Year's Retirement Center anyway, I hoped you might alter your travel plans to accommodate an earlier arrival. From the information provided me by my old friend, the Admiral, you would be able to warp here within a few hours. I require some assistance from your ship, as well as one of your crew members. Allow me to explain.
Meanwhile, back in sickbay.
Well, that was quite a bit of exposition there. I hope everybody paid attention, because that was about 50% of the plot of the entire game.
Jabba is an interesting-looking fellow. That is, if you think a melted purple marshmallow with an internal skeleton is interesting. He's the main research attendant here in the sickbay. Apparently, the doctor is way busy, as he completely ignores you. Stellar is getting treatment for her back injury. You should be ashamed of yourself for jumping on her like that, you baby. Your words cause everything to become speechless. How dynamic of you. Your words are so unspectacular, nature doesn't even see fit to grant it an echo.
And I walked up to him and everything.
This is a DNA sequencer. During a starship's travels, many different organisms and artifacts are discovered, and a DNA sequencer can come in quite handy in analyzing them. But mostly it just gets used to make sure the food replicators are working properly, and not brewing up anything that might hatch and grow inside you, for instance.
Well, that's what Stellar told me to use to analyze the hair sample that I got. And the doctor appeared to be embedded in my back there, so let's go ahead and get this thing sequenced.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wilco. The sequencer is for use by trained personnel only. Obviously, you don't fit that description. I'm afraid I can't allow you to use it.
Come on, Jabba, be a pal. Who'll know?
I'm sorry, Mr. Wilco. It's a StarCon regulation.
Well, I guess that's kind of a bust. Why don't you do it?
Boy, wouldn't it be cool if that really worked?
Somebody's got to... quit intruding on my personal space here, Doctor. I absolutely hate this part of the game. What we really need to do is just ask for permission again.
Jeez, Jabba. Who's gonna know? Let me try this one thing. I'll be out of your way. No one will find out.
I don't know, Mr. Wilco. I'm not one to break regulations. I really don't think it's a good idea.
I swear, it'll only take a minute. We're out in the middle of nowhere. No one will find out. And I'll tell you what, anytime you want it, one free plunge job, day or night. What do you say?
Well, I don't know.
It'll only take a minute or two, really. Come on, Jabba, be a pal.
Well, okay, but just this once. If anyone finds out I'm sunk, then I'll come looking for you to take it out on. Keep that in mind.
No problem. I'll be done in a flash.
I really don't know why I'm doing this.
And yet again, it goes on way too long without being funny at all. But the upside is, now I can do my scan.
It hurts your eyes to look at that. In fact, you feel a major headache coming on.
He called Stellar ugly.
It looks a lot more detailed than it did in Space Quest 4, that's for sure.
Alright, let's just get this stuff scanned. I guess I hit the scan button. I love the pixelated doctor walking in the background. That's not more detailed than Space Quest 4. Alright. Oh, I got my data cart.
This is the program card you got from sickbay.
Seems like there was a word missing there, but oh well.
Boy, wouldn't it be cool if that really worked? As cool as it would be,
Kind of trying to get a clue as to how to use this thing. But we've all seen the slot on the compost if we watch the demo video. So let's go ahead and get this thing run. If only I could remember where the DNA sequencer option was.
Neat. I've always wanted to try one of these on the compost.
Yeah, it just does it all for me. Nigel Rancid. I knew the name anyway. And then you gotta click to move on.
Oh, hi, Stellar. I hope your back's feeling better.
They just finished treating me, and it is starting to feel better. However, I was told to lay off rescuing people for a while, especially you. So, did you have any luck?
I got some information from the sample I ran through the DNA sequencer. When I tried it, all I got was a name. All it said after that was that the file is closed. I wonder why that is.
I don't know for sure, Roger, but it seems a bit suspicious. When a file is marked like that, there's usually a very good reason. Most frequently, it indicates the file is closed for intelligence purposes, or it's legally sealed by some judicial body. In the case of those tubs of guts that grabbed you, I'd have to say it's not a government agency directly behind it. It sounds more like someone with access from the outside to a friend or two inside. A more paranoid person might say this smells way wrong.
Then again, when did you last change your socks?
If the files are sealed, then we have nothing to go on.
True. The only thing I can think of is that they may be accessible by jacking into cyberspace. I've never done it, but I know it can be done.
So I guess this means you won't be trying it first. I mean, I'd love to try it, but I can't since we don't know how.
Well, actually, I read it can be done with the help of a cyberjack and headset and a cyberspace jack interface module. The article said there are several things to access out there and that there's a vast library of files to browse. It said that the Information Superhighway project is a little behind schedule, but that there are some operative areas. Other than that, I don't have a clue as to how we can gain any information about them.
So you think this cyberspace thing could work?
Well, I can only tell you what I've read. Navigating it takes a little patience, but I think it's the only option you have. I don't know if you'll locate a cyberjack and headset. Because of the delays in the project, they've become more like collector's items than marketable, functionable products.
We do have cyberjack modules built into the compost.
That's true. Of course, we won't know anyway without the jack.
That bites. I wonder where we could find one of those.
I wish I knew, Roger. There must be some place.
Attention! We are now orbiting the Delta Berxalon 5 colony as requested by StarCon. Most of you know your assignments as they have been broadcast to your composts. Please represent StarCon properly. Kilbasa, out.
You better get moving since you don't know yet what your assignment is. I have some checking around to do. We'll talk later.
Thanks, Stellar. I'll see you soon. Maybe we can work in that dinner.
So once again, we get a giant exposition dump, and I really hope you remember that conversation very well, because it's going to be important much, much, much later in the game. And if you don't remember that they had that conversation, you'll have no clue what to do. It comes completely out of left field, I promise you. Meanwhile, we've got that assignment to take care of, but before I go checking into it, I want to do some other stuff I missed in the demo, like this.
Sure, go ahead, grab that red-hot spike of quartz so it'll fuse your hand permanently to the heater.
Nothing. Well, Does this still work?
You pick strange methods of getting a charge out of life.
Okay, we're not completely useless here.
Can we talk?
When are you going to learn that the computers around here aren't voice activated? Starcom's too cheap for that. Your words cause everything. There isn't the remotest chance it will respond to you. Don't bother talking to it, it's just a dumb terminal. Perhaps you should table this conversation for now. Hey, don't put your mouth on that. Conversing with the hint book is a sign of multidimensional dementia. Do you see any Labion terror beasts around here? No? Then there's no need to blow it. Perhaps you should tape. Perhaps you.
I hate trying to click on the cigar.
Perhaps you. Don't put that cigar butt in your mouth. You know where this one has been.
Hey, here's a match for you. My face and your spatially inverted tetryon particle. Well, you had to be there.
Now's no time for pillow talk. Hey, don't put your mouth on. You start to say something. Your attempt at light conversation fails.
That's the line I'm gonna go out on. So next time we'll find out what our assignment is and go ahead and carry it out. See you guys then.